fashion, a very big combo player, has a strong identity, has strong lists that he likes to play, made the decision to kind of play things that he felt would be more effective and reap the benefits very well. One of the top players in Europe, if not the current top player. Of course, we'll see if that will change by the end of this season.
Absolutely.
But here we go, Vengeance Blood versus Mid Shadow.
This has always been a dicey matchup. So before, you know, when you had access to things like Phantom Howl, then I would say Shadowcraft would have been always ahead in this matchup. Now I think it's a lot more even. I think it really has to do with each player's draws, not just one or the other. So, like, yes, drawing Belphegor early is nice, but if you're on the draw and you're playing defensive that game, do you really want to activate Belphegor early? This really just comes down to really tight play and knowing what cards you want to mulligan for, and the Jordude with 2 Urias is feeling pretty good.
I actually think that has gotten better, especially with things like Skull Ring on the field now.
Oh, yeah.
It's very uncomfortable to play things like Skull Ring into Urias, and the fact that Urias comes down as soon as turn 2 is really the nail in the coffin, I think, so to speak.
Yeah. Plus, you know, the Jordude, I've got to say, he loves playing Forcecraft, and then he goes to this Bloodcraft deck with Urias. I don't like it. It feels like he's a traitor.
He's a traitor?
He's a traitor. Playing Uriases, he knows they're super good.
Yeah. Forestcraft does not like Urias at all. Maybe that's why he understands the pain.
Right.
He wants to bring the pain to others.
Absolutely. Because I can tell you from experience, and this goes for over a year now, every time you play a Forestcraft deck into somebody who played a Urias on turn 2, now you have Airbound Barrage. Imagine a world where you don't have Airbound Barrage. It's not good. It's not a good world to live in as a Forestcraft player. You're like, well, I can't. I don't want to.
The bad part about it, too, is even with something like Airbound Barrage, if you happen to not have any follows on board, you still have to play the follower out and then bounce it.
Yep. It will still get some work done. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Goes with the Urias playing Jordude in sheepy fashion, taking a while to kind of think about the overall game and his plan and make sure he has everything lined up, ready to go.
Well, I think like we said before this match, like both of these players want to prove themselves today, and I think they are going to take every opportunity to think about all of their plays. I cannot blame them for that.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's so interesting, too. Just kind of briefly touching on the change that was made to Necro Assassin a while back. That 2-1 stat line is not something that can fight up against Urias anymore, and so it kind of forces...
the Soul Squasher, yeah.
Oh, right, sorry, the Soul Squasher. I said Necro Assassin for whatever reason. But the Soul Squasher, yeah, adjusted to the 2-1 stat line. And Urias is already kind of special in the fact that he has 3 defense on turn 2. The last time we saw that was with Tove.
Yeah, Tove needed to go away. Urias is about as good as you need a 2-drop to be. Tove was a little too good. But yeah, Little Soul Squashers changed just like they made the Magic Illusionist changed. I feel like it really, really hurts.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Those cards, and I still feel like they play
too many of them. Look at the impact.
Yeah. Like, how do you play a big enough board to actually take care of these Uriases? Yeah. It's tough.
He has the Usher Sticks, which is still a normal 2-2 follower, which is pretty good, but no way to remove the Sears, which means one more turn of a card drop, which means one more turn that you're just taking 2 damage for free.
And now he gets to protect with a Spiderweb Imp if he so chooses. I think that plus the Lyrial is a really good play this turn. Because then the Lyrial becomes a threat, and then are you still not dealing with these Uriases? Like, how long are you letting these stay alive against your Shadowcraft deck?
Yeah. Urias can really change the flow of a game, especially if your opponent does not draw removal. Anything like a zombie party or something like that.
Yep. And the Prince Catacomb, again, not one of those cards that feels good, because if you don't kill the Urias after you play the Prince Catacomb, then they could just control the way you pop all of your followers into play. And then you just take a boatload of damage. Yeah. Jordan, look at he's got that anime pose on. He's like down.
Yeah. He's thinking.
He's thinking.
You can't quite understand his emotions because it's hidden.
That's right.
Behind his hands. Complexities Jordude.
That's right.
He's a big card player. Oh, interesting. Okay. So how do you feel about this? I mean, you are taking the opportunity to get that card draw when you know that you have... Oh, interesting.
It's an interesting play. So I feel like this puts him a little bit more behind than he was. So like I feel like he was very much ahead.
Yeah, and take that trade any day.
The Belphegor didn't really give him an advantage. If you look at his hand, the Blood Drinker's Brand is about the only thing you get from being in Vengeance at the moment. And it also weakened his board enough to where these Uriases can just go away.
Yeah. Yeah, having the Pure-Hearted Seer be able to value to the Urias was not ideal.
you know, the Jordude's probably just thinking, like, I have options for the next turn. So say he played the Spiderweb Imp out and the Lyriel out, then he's like, I have to play the Belphegor next turn, and I don't want to make a play that I have to do.
Yes. He has good options with the Lyriel and the Angel of the Word. And he could go aggressive with the Belphegor, which is kind of the one thing that he did win out of that decision. Right, is now you have a 4/4 on board.
By the way, guys, this combo is still really good. And by this combo, I mean Angel of the Word and Lyriel. It's a really nice turn 5 play, maybe one of the best you can make in the game. Because you get to deal 2 damage to anything you want. Then you get the Evolve over something. So it's kind of like having a mini Levi built into 2 cards.
Yeah.
But you can spread the damage however you want to, which is awesome.
Yeah. And for example, in this case, you could just throw both pings onto the Catacomb and avoid the 3 damage entirely. But of course, Blooddrinker's Brand.
Yep, this works with Lyriel just as well. Spiderweb Imp to protect the Belphegor, also very nice.
Oh boy,
wow.
That opens up the Soul Squasher.
It does, but only 2 shadows at the moment means all these followers are going to have to run in just for the Soul Squasher to get active here.
Interesting. Oh, wow. Behind double wards. Now, this is the interesting thing. I feel like some of the best Vengeance Blood games come from when you have the right 2-drops at the right time, just because they're so potent in this deck. It's incredible how far Urias's and Spiderweb Imps can go.
Especially Spiderweb Imps. When you can protect a big threat with the Spiderweb Imp, it's awesome. Of course, when you're playing against Shadowcraft, this strategy, like we just saw, can get met with resistance here from the little Soul Squasher. But that doesn't mean that he's behind. The Jordude having auto-aim down to 9 already is very much working in his favor.
And 2 turns until Emeralda comes into play, too.
That's right. And then he's also got the Razory Claw. However, if he doesn't pick this board back up soon, he might just find himself in trouble because he did put himself to 10.
And the big part of that, too, is there isn't anything in Jordude's hand that constructs kind of... There's not a Dark Air Jammer,
right?
You know, there's not anything that is incredibly high value. It's just a lot of kind of lower play point cards, which are great. But when your opponent is starting to play resources and effects to kind of swing the board back around, there's not much that's left.
Yep, it just really goes down to the fact that, you know, there wasn't really anything to activate Vengeance with. He just wanted the card draw. Didn't really get anything that is useful with it too much, other than this Emeralda that can come down to next turn. And I think that's what he really has to construct. How do I win next turn with Emeralda? Because if the game goes much later than that with the context of what I have in my hand, I'm not feeling too good about it. So I think that's what he should aim for, because with the Emeralda in hand, it means not even a ward is going to be enough to stop him from going all the way through.
Yeah. It's interesting. I almost, you know, if you go on the aggressive path, you're playing basically until turn 7, right? Because the instant you start swinging into the board like this, I think you lose a lot of pressure, and you're getting closer to that Ecto turn, the turns with Bane, you know?
Yep.
So I almost wonder if it's just a situation where you play to have the Emeralda finish things out, right? Just throw all your ping damage to face.
Well, like, here's the question, right? Say auto-aim can deal with this entire board this turn, right? Which he most likely can. Had the Jordude actually gotten auto-aim down to 4 or saved his evolution orb that turn, he could have used the Emeralda to finish the game off instead of using the Evolve to clear out a 1/1. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even anything else on the board, because what can actually produce lethal on turn 6 for Shadow? They don't really have anything anymore, right? So just put yourself into a position where you can win over the course of 2 turns. Now the Jordude isn't in such a place where the cards in his hand can't actually finish the game by themselves.
Interesting. And I think this is a tough spot. Entry Alphas is not really key knowing what's in hand for both players.
Right. Extra cards this game is not where you need to be. You need to be able to end this game in a hurry.
Yep. And I think that's just about going to be it, right? I don't know what much more Jordan can draw.
Okay. That gives him a lethal setup in 2 turns, which is great.
Yeah.
He needs to
the
just go
Ector,
face.
without the evolution orb, only does what?
6?
6? My God.
Yeah.
My God.
I mean, this is Vengeance Blood in a nutshell. You need to learn how to play on a razor-thin wire of how much damage you can deal and your opponent can deal every single turn once you put yourself into Vengeance. That's how the deck thrives, and with that Savage Wolf in hand, that's going to close out this first game for the Jordude.
Shadow demonstrating its classic flaw. Not a lot of healing, not a lot of ward.
It's because nobody likes to play Saris anymore. I still think everyone's crazy. I'm never gonna diminish my opinion about how I think Saris belongs in Shadowcraft. I think it gives you so many angles that the deck doesn't do naturally. But drew the other Savage Wolf just in case as well. So we're gonna move on to a game 2 here.
Yeah. What a scenario. I mean, yeah. Of course, Jordude made it out just fine in that case, but I do wonder, statistically speaking, how many times that will happen if you don't go for the face damage on turn 5, like he
It's true.
didn't
I mean,
do.
you still have Razor Claws to draw. You still have Dark Generals. Like you still have Dark Air Jammers that can pull you into like extra turns. Well, I guess 2 Spiderweb Imps are already gone, so that's not really a good risk. You probably pull Baphomets or something like that, which he is playing. But yeah, I don't know. It really just depends. I mean, you are definitely more likely to win if you set up the lethal with the cards that you have access to. But of course, it's an aggro deck. It has a lot of ways to deal damage. So
yeah,
sometimes you can ride the line. You know what I mean? You can just be like, I'll just throw some cards out and get there.
That is kind of the big benefit of your deck. And so now Jordude takes his swing at Shadow
against Havencraft. So this is a matchup I know very well. AUTOAIM is definitely a very good pilot of Havencraft. I have not seen this list before. This is an interesting looking list, a little bit more amulet heavy with basically Val and the Hourglass as well. I would assume that he has Gemstone Carapace in here too, but I don't know for sure. But Havencraft has always generally felt pretty good against Shadowcraft because of the things that we talk about a lot. There are banish effects that don't increase the shadow count, and there are big board wipes that can basically clear up any of the clutter that Shadow puts down.
Yeah, we haven't seen the Featherfall Hourglass very much in the last few weeks. What do you think is its biggest strength here?
So the reason I had it before and don't have it now, and what I'm assuming is the same reason why AUTOAIM has it, is because of options. It's a turn 1 play, it's a turn 3 play. It's kind of an any turn play. You get that 3-2 with Thrush. You know what I mean? It's a Blitz Lancer, for Havencraft, but you can play it on turn 1. So it's just more options to give you a better early game. 3 Beastly Vows is very interesting. I have not seen that in a Havencraft list since old Tempo Haven, like old Tempo Haven. But that's what he could be trying to play here. He could be trying to play a very tempo-oriented game plan, not trying to get all the way up to Aegis every single turn, things like that.
It could be really effective here.
I mean, it's not like Shadowcraft is going to beat him before these amulets pop, so it really just depends on how valuable these amulets actually become over the course of these next few turns.
Yeah. What Snow White will do here is actually interesting, too, because it can't really trade that effectively against this Bellinus. A little bit of a shame to have the Snow White go in this fashion, but...
Yeah, it's better than allowing the Jordude to control it, though, because then the Snow White might not have been able to take out that Bellinus.
Yes. Yes. No Gemstone Carapace to go along with that, too, so...
Yeah, very unfortunate. Now, if those were all Gemstone Carapaces, I'd feel a little bit better for AUTOAIM right now, but, maybe, like I said, maybe he's playing both of them. I'm always down to see new Havencraft lists, especially from AUTOAIM, because he knows the deck. He knows the class so well.
Jordan taking some time again to think about his turn, and this time there is a Skull Ring.
He does have a tempo play. He's thinking really hard about this. Maybe he's thinking about, okay, I could play my Kai'Sa, start getting advantage out of that very early, because next turn he does need a turn 4 play. Right now that exists in the form of Lyriel and Lurching Corpse. Lurching Corpse not really going to do much to this board. So I can definitely see a Kai'Sa play here. Skull Ring definitely makes sense as well.
Yeah, the Skull Ring will bring back the not the Androphis, the Bellinus.
At the moment.
Which is, again, a very solid card in the early game. But it is, I think, in general, a little less effective against Haven, because their followers tend to have more defense.
Yep.
So there's less opportunity for that 1 damage ping to actually impact the board.
And I like this line because, of course, next turn you can play Gemstone Carapace along with an Evolve, and basically they all pop at the same time.
Which will be crazy.
Scary board.
Yeah, which will be insane value.
Maybe that's what he's trying to do. Maybe with this Havencraft deck, he's trying to make it like a Daria deck. Like, he's just pre-setting up his Daria. You know what he's going to Daria into, and then that's going to be his endgame.
Yeah.
And then maybe he finishes out with a Dark John or something spicy like that.
The only thing about this list so far is AUTOAIM is out of options.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I'm all in on these amulets, and I hope they get me there.
We'll see. There's not a lot of good removal options for the Jordude either.
That's true. He's got a very value high hand. No, he is playing Aegis. Okay, so just a different tempo-oriented game plan from the start of things.
There goes the Gemstone.
Yeah, I gotta imagine he plays the Frog Cleric and evolves that. Keep that Tiger safe. And next turn is going to be a huge turn. for AUTOAIM.
Yeah, and JORDUDE has to be thinking right now really hard about how he's going to deal with this.
Very interesting to attack into the Lurching Corpse. Definitely afraid of something like a Necro Assassin that turn. I probably would have gambled. I don't like attacking myself into Lurching Corpses. I allow my opponents to do things with that. Because realistically, if you think about it, the same end result happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, JORDUDE has to think about it about this. He has the option, and I think you almost just have to evolve a Kaiser or something like that.
You got to get the value train rolling. I mean, you could just flood with Skull Rings, too. There's nothing wrong with this. The problem is there's just no finishing cards right now. There's no Ektars in hand for the JORDUDE. He does have Aisha, but that's definitely a ways away. And next turn, he does have an Aisha to clear off a lot of this board.
Yeah.
Next turn.
That's what I think will probably happen, is evolving to get the double swing and trying to find a way to utilize the 5 damage twice.
Yeah, because he's going to have to deal with that board. So I feel like he should evolve the Carrot probably here, get it off the table so it can't be banished into the Tiger. Yep. It's looking good. And then he can just bash with his Lyrial, and hopefully he's thinking in his head this board will not get Dark Jobbed.
Oh,
because
boy.
Dark John off the top of here would be lights out. I'm pretty sure it would be very close, if not lights out.
We'll see. Oh, my God, look at that board.
Oh, that's pretty good, too,
pretty bad.
though.
Yeah, that's still pretty bad for the JORDUDE. Oh, man.
Not quite Dark John as far as the pumps on AUTOAIM's side of the board, but still a very healthy board going into JORDUDE 6 here.
And they're all, like, 4 defense and up.
Yeah, this is rough. This is really rough. He can deal with 2 of these. Yeah, because he can deal with the Tortoise and then something else with the Aisha. That's probably his best play because AUTOAIM only has 1 card left in hand.
Yeah. Yeah, you just need a play to stop the game plan of AUTOAIM right now. There's the Evolve. And that doesn't change the stats on Aisha, but gives her the ability to attack twice.
And now, AUTOAIM has these Tigers to hold him over until his Aegis comes at the moment.
Oh.
That's a lot of damage, though.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of damage, and there's still not really great removal on the side of JORDUDE.
There's not at all. He's got an Evolution Orb left, and that's it. I really feel like he has to try to dig for something here. Play the Carrot, play a Demon Eater, hope to draw a Zombie Party.
Yeah.
And then you're still in trouble. I guess that's kind of the same type of removals you have with just the Carrot Evolve here. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
You need to be able to play something so that you can draw more cards with the Demon Eater.
Yep. You can get advantage, you know, with some of the cards. I just don't know. I don't know what you could draw in order with only 7 play points. If he had 8 play points here, he'd be in much better position. But only having 7 here is rough because you can't make any of these plays, draw cards, and then do multiple things this turn.
You basically need to be playing for your next turn. I think it's going to be important for JORDUDE to figure out how he can both kind of keep the board clear as best he can and also provide himself the best options next turn.
Yep, and I think this is the right play here.
Okay.
And he got himself an Ektar. That's something. That'll definitely help him finish off the board next turn. Is there Taurus in AUTOAIM's deck? Ooh.
Oh, boy. That would be really effective if there was.
Yeah.
But basically, I suppose if you're only going to take down the... Okay, he might go for the 4/4.
Yeah. No.
Oh, wow. Really wants to make sure his last evolve is as impactful as possible, and that Carrot is not feeling happy.
Interesting. Pegasus still on.
Oh, God. That 1 defense, I think,
It's definitely
might change the game.
Yeah, it's definitely not good for JORDUDE that healed.
He has Shadows.
I think this is over. In the order that this game is going to be played, the JORDUDE has to play defensively. AUTOAIM gets to play Aegis, and we're still a turn away from even Aisha, even if the JORDUDE had dealt enough damage this game to finish him off with Aisha. And that's if he still had an Aisha in hand. This is just looking all bad.
Yeah, he can clear the board here, but on the next turn, the Aegis goes down.
Yep.
Oh, man. That's interesting. That board flood plus the Lion Spirit too really kind of solidified AUTOAIM's position in this game.
What is that in hand? Is that Is that the ignore ward card? I can't see that.
It's a... Oh, it's so small.
I can't see what it is. Chat, help, please! I
What
can't
an
see this
interesting
card.
card. Yeah, chat! Yeah. The Jordude, I think, is just realizing...
Oh, no, it can't be that. It's a 4-play.33. Is it? Or is it a 1-3?
Yeah. Star Chaser Sprite.
Ah, Star Chaser Sprite.
There
There we go. There we go. We haven't seen this card in competitive play.
Yeah.
Drawing
cards for amulets.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why all the beastly vows. We haven't seen Globe of Starways, but of course that's in the deck as well.
There it is. Havencraft closes out the game with one swift Heavenly Aegis kick. And for the second game in a row, I think we see Shadow kind of losing out because no wards, no healing.
Yeah,
right?
No wards, no healing, not a lot of options. Like, what it does is it tries to play sticky boards and try to deal with sticky boards every once in a while and then try to end the game with Aisha. It's a very slow mid-range value deck now, whereas before it used to be like kind of aggro mid-range, but now it's just not. There's no aggro to it, unless it's playing against Dragoncraft, of course, when they don't do anything against you.
The interesting thing is, on turn 4, turn 5, when you're flooding the board with a bunch of 1/1 tokens, and your opponent is flooding the board with a bunch of 4/4 tigers, right?
Yeah.
Which is
a
going to
little
win.
different. Yeah, a little different.
Which comes out on top here, I think.
Well, we talked about the 4 defense line. Oh, my goodness. The 4 defense line in this game as well. Like, Beastly Vow Tigers are big threats. They're really hard to deal with. You can't deal with them with most of the removal spells right now. And both players drawing into double Ektar 2-drop hands. Very interesting.
Yeah. We talked about mid-shadow mirrors and how they can basically just go into a stage where everybody's just top-decking options. And I think that's probably how this game's going to get drawn out to.
I feel like mid-range Shadowcraft is almost the same as mid-range Swordcraft nowadays. It's literally both players will not run out of options as fast as you will see the Swordcraft players, but the end game will look the same. Like, who can just draw the next Haymaker, you know what I mean, every single time, and/or who can get to 10 play points first to finish off with Aisha.
Yeah. What's interesting here is I think the way that the cards played out for AUTOAIM gives him a kind of awkward board to play around, right? This Belinus is basically dominating the early turns here. And the fact that it was an Andrealphus into the Demon Eater doesn't quite help. And what's interesting is I think that card draw is great, but as long as card draw exists for Jordude in return in some fashion, eventually those options are still going to be played out turn after turn after turn, right? So you're not actually getting an advantage in that sense.
Sure. Plus, technically speaking, card draw is almost the same as board advantage, right? When you think about if you actually can remove your opponent's followers without removing any of your own, that's technically like drawing a card.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same thing. So if you can't manage to keep the board, then it's kind of a similar situation.
Yep.
However, I don't think either player right now is in trouble of just getting super far behind in the early.
Yeah. I think the one thing for Jordude is he definitely... Oh, okay, well, that's going to be it.
Yeah, that was a really good draw. He's got to play that, evolve it, and then play something else before the Belinus goes off. However, Soul Squasher is not big enough anymore. So, actually, there's no real way to save a follower with that Belinus. Belinus being the perfect play this turn.
Yep. Going to give him the additional hit as he falls, and that's going to give him Catacomb.
And he's just going to pass this turn? Like, it feels rough to pass this turn, but, like, playing any of these cards just doesn't feel good either. You know, got to set up. Got to set something up. Plus, it does draw a card. All of the followers that were in the hand when Andrealphus evolved now have that added benefit.
The value of Soul Squasher, I think, is a very good thing for a turn 2 player to swing back the game, especially because there's already limited evolution orbs on your opponent's side. To be able to take that kind of free trade, essentially, really helps speed up your game.
Yeah, and giving away an option like Soul Squasher that early means that it's going to be a lot harder to deal with wider boards such as this turn without having access to that Soul Squasher.
And no Lyrials either. We've seen them all day today, but Lyrial would be great. Angel of the Word would be great.
And I don't think, from what I've seen the Jordude's deck right now, I don't think he runs any 1-drops. He doesn't run the Goblins like you see in most mid-range Shadowcraft decks. I think he's running just a really heavy, high-value deck. Haven't really gotten to see value out of all of the cards in his deck yet. Same with AUTOAIM and cards like Usher of Styx. You know what I mean? Not full value yet, but I can definitely see why they're there.
Yeah.
Usher of Styx really, I think, is one of those cards that can shine in this matchup because it's like, who... Did I have to use my Aisha early? Can I get it back? Or did I play my Ektar and I need another Ektar? You know what I mean? Like, you can get a lot of advantage out of the cards that you really need in this matchup.
Yeah, definitely an interesting kind of tech option that AUTOAIM threw in there. And it's just on the off chance that it does kind of provide you that effect,
Yeah,
right?
just a little bit of value here and there. And
wow.
The blank Prince Catacomb never feels good.
Into the... you have to go for value, I imagine, here, right? You can't just...
You can't throw this into the free one. No chance. 0 chance here. Ooh, a Tentative Knight as well. Okay. So AUTOAIM kind of going back to like this anti-control Shadowcraft deck, which makes a lot of sense if he expects to see, you know, a lot of Dragoncraft, a lot of Hagencraft.
Oh, interesting.
Honestly, even matchups like this, I feel like a Tentative Knight is better than it used to be, because before it couldn't trade with boards, so you could get behind in tempo and just lose out on the aggressive edge. I don't think that's really possible anymore, so maybe a Tentative Knight is just that nice little 3-drop that the deck can use or needs right now.
Yeah. Well, the zombie party came in good kind of time here for JORDUDE, and I think he's just thinking about how much he wants to avoid possibly the 5 damage from an Ektar coming down.
And at the moment, that's really the only play that that AUTOAIM really is looking to make. I mean, he could play an Tentative Knight into Necro Assassin to play defensively if he needs to, but this is not a board where he needs to play defensively.
Interesting. Okay, he just uses the last Evolution Orb. That's it.
All right. So now it makes a whole lot more sense. Especially having the last evolve as the first player. That's rough. That's rough for the JORDUDE here.
And you don't have kind of solid board control, right? It's not like JORDUDE is sitting here with a bunch of followers on board. Right. It's a 1 defense follower that can be easily removed. Wow.
I like it. Just going for all the value he can eke out of this AUTOAIM's plays here. I like everything about this turn. Just draw a ton of cards, fill up the board.
Yeah, just continually threatening, hey, if you don't remove any of the stuff, Ektar is going to come down and end the game in a short amount of time.
That's right, and this might force JORDUDE to, play a defensive Ektar here just to clear up some of this board. Gotta do it.
And really, he can only clear out 2 of the followers. Because, again, he's out of Evolution Orbs.
Out of Evolution Orbs, but now that this game state has happened, I believe now we start the grind fest. Who can play the best thing last?
Yep, just turn after turn. How far do you have to go to keep trading resources here?
Yep, and if the pace of this match continues, AUTOAIM will not only hit 10 play points first, he'll also hit 10 shadows first, which he's already above.
Yeah.
Which means he'll be able to Aisha first.
Not having to play the Ektar to respond to the Ektar that JORDUDE dropped, I think is really tough, because now what is the JORDUDE got to play? Another Ektar, you know?
Right.
The Thane is great.
Yeah, that's a good card to try to get back onto this board.
But he needs to find someone to immediately impact the board right now, because AUTOAIM is again threatening, hey, if I drop my Ektar, you are taking massive amounts of damage. I think even lethal, right?
Yeah, well, it's 12 damage,
2, 4,
so not
6,
quite lethal.
5, 6, 12, yep.
Not quite, yeah, but I don't think you can make a better play. The only other play here is Zombie Party, which is not bad. That gives you some of the board back.
Gets you the 3 zombies and removes the Necro Assassin.
Honestly, you know what? Never mind. As I think about that, that probably is the best play. Playing a Thane here is just literally saying if you have an Ektar here, then the rest of the game just gets so easy for you.
Yep. Does end up playing the Zombie Party, so what this means is that the Ektar turn is doing about 7 damage.
Which still isn't a bad deal. Plus you have the 8 shadows to wipe the board. That's a really good option too. You can play Pure-Hearted Singer on top of a Prince Catacomb, basically ensure lethal, but he's already got the second Ektar. He's just going for it.
Yep, there it is. And there's not really a good way for JORDUDE to protect himself, right? If it's just Ektar swinging face and then again swinging face. Interesting.
Wow, goes full defense there.
Interesting. Okay. Especially being at 20 defense or 20 health on your leader.
Just not taking any chances this game. I can respect it. I mean, this is still a lethal setup with another Ektar. So the JORDUDE still has to answer some follower this turn in order to prevent himself from dying next turn.
Has to, I imagine, play some combination of Avenger Alphas plus a Demon Eater just to see where this goes. Or not a Demon Eater, the Necro Assassin.
Hopeful hits.
Oh, no!
Not the hit you want.
Oh, no. I don't know if there's anything that you can draw to stop that from swinging for big amounts of damage.
Yep.
And you can't strike back.
Just auto-aim with so many shadows to work with, too. Could always just play another Ektar whenever he wants as well. Just going to do it.
Oh, my
Just doesn't even
gosh.
care. Doesn't even care.
Oh, my gosh.
He's like, I'm just going to clear the board again. Easy peasy. Looking for that Aisha. Cementing my lead.
Oh, and the zombies stay. Okay.
And I don't know if there is a singular card that can get the Jordude out of this spot right now.
Jordude versus AUTOAIM on the winners semis, and AUTOAIM is on the brink of just pushing past and going to the finals, the winners finals, dropping Jordude down to the losers bracket. And that's going to be big for AUTOAIM again. The points are so close at this stage.
They are, and AUTOAIM needs them. He needs these last 2 weeks to get himself into the top 8 of points leaders.
Yeah.
Just needs to. He needs all the points he can get.
This board is double Ektar, double zombies.
Yep. And the
Something
Jordude
about.
basically just thinking, you know what? I've got this turn to think about all of the things that happened this game. You know what I mean? Basically refresh himself so that when he gets to the loser's end of this bracket, he doesn't make any mistakes, or maybe he mulligans better, or plays different decks in the different order.
I mean, you really have to think about, I think one of the big things for AUTOAIM was continually having removal options that cycle themselves because of things like Andrew Alphas, things like Demon Eater, you know, whatever it is, and Pure-Hearted Singers, just, and being on the play, constantly having those options was very, very effective.
Honestly, it just seemed like he used more cards that got him more shadows over the course of this game, right? Like, he had access to more tools.
Yeah. Jordude with a little kind of shake of the head. Very, very kind of, I think, lamenting the scenario here.
This, again, guys, and I'm just gonna point this out probably a couple times today. This is why I would not take Shadowcraft to a tournament, because of the mirror. I don't think that the mirror is a great matchup for either player. I don't think it matters if you're on the play or the draw. It just really matters on who draws better. And it's kind of like that for a lot of the different decks that are in the game, right? Like, you're thinking about Daria, like, who draws better? Like, yes, being on the draw, you get an advantage, but, like, did you not draw your Daria? Did your opponent draw your Daria? I don't like decks that don't have favorable matchups.
I think what's interesting is, I think previously, what happened in Mid Shadow Mirrors was that